Assalamu alaikum, my dear kids. I hope you are doing well. As you know, we have completed chapter number 1 and 2. So today we are going to start chapter number 3. In this chapter, we are going to learn another important attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Muhyi, which means the giver of life. We know Allah is one, and we also know that He has created everything from nothing. So let's begin. Where does a chicken come from? It comes from an egg, right? And where does an egg come from? It comes from a hen. Now, where does a hen come from? Allah made it out of nothing. Now, let's take an example of a plant and fruit. Where do you find an apple fruit? It grows on an apple tree, right? And where does that apple tree come from? It comes from another apple tree. And where does that apple tree come from? Allah created it out of nothing. So everything is created by Allah. You can ask these questions about all the things and try to give an answer. This will show you that everything has a beginning and that everything also has an end. But not so with Allah. He has no beginning. He has no end. So all the things in this world have a beginning and they also have an end. But Allah has no beginning and no end. Allah is the living one. Allah is the giver of life. When you look at the sky, the sun, the moon, and the stars, whom do you think of? When you see the trees and mountains, birds and animals, fish and oceans, whom do you think of? Who created all these wonderful things? Of course, Allah, because He is the creator. Allah created Adam. Adam was different from animals and plants in many ways. Adam was a man. He was the first man. The animals and plants cannot think the way we can. They cannot talk. But Adam could do these things. Allah gave him the gift of speech. He gave him the gift of the mind to think with. Allah is the giver of life. Who made the whole world? Allah made the beautiful earth. He filled the earth with many beautiful things. So in this chapter we have learned that Allah can give life to anyone. He can create things and then He can give life to them. This is what the word Al-Muhyi means, the giver of life. So the chapter is completed. Let's do its exercise. Complete the following sentences. Everything has a so everything has an blank. Everything has a beginning and everything has an end. But not so with Allah. Allah has no beginning and no end. Allah is the Allah is the living one. Allah is the blank of blank. Allah is the giver of life. Answer the following questions. Write down 3 things you can do but plants can't. We can speak, we can think, and we can listen, but the plants cannot. Who has given you these gifts? Of course, Allah. See you in the next chapter. Jazakallah.